we have learned about the forthcoming testimony of the former deputy national security advisor to Donald Trump in front of the January 6th Trump Riot Committee. This is a really, really big deal. Now, I know many of you are wondering the same thing I'm wondering. Is this witness the one that Donald Trump tried to call in order to tamper with, to influence his forthcoming testimony? We don't know the answer to that, but we'll get back to that in a moment. First on CNN, former Trump National Security Council official will testify at Thursday's January 6th hearing. This is not like some intern or coffee boy. This is the deputy national security advisor. And in fact, it's widely known that the deputy national security advisor is often the person really running the National Security Council, who becomes sort of the intermediary between the Security Council, the National Security Advisor, and everybody else. Matthew Pottinger is his name. He served on Trump's NSC before resigning in the aftermath of January 6th. There is a primetime hearing on Thursday night. My intent, like Joe Biden says, my intent is to cover it, baby permitting. He will testify publicly at Thursday's primetime hearing. Pottinger is slated to appear alongside former Trump White House aide Sarah Matthews, who is believed to have quite extreme or nuanced, well, both really, insights into the Trump White House. CNN previously reported that Matthews, who was deputy press secretary until resigning shortly after January 6th, was expected to testify publicly. When she resigned, Matthews said she was honored to serve in Trump's administration, but was deeply disturbed by what she saw. Pottinger, Trump's deputy national security advisor, stepped down in response to Trump's reaction to his supporters breaching the U.S. Capitol. He told people there was very little for him to consider. A spokesperson for the committee has declined to comment. We are going to see some very, very real stuff on what is right now the final scheduled hearing from the January 6th Trump Riot Committee. The headline here dramatically understates who Matthew Pottinger was. It simply says National Security Council official. As I said, we're talking here about the principal deputy national security advisor. Front row to everything that was going on in that extremely high level organization, group, committee, whatever you want to call it. Now, there are a few things that are going to happen. First of all is the question, did Donald Trump call you to try to talk to you about this testimony? And we don't know the answer to that. We know per Liz Cheney that Donald Trump tried to call some forthcoming witness. It may be Matthew Pottinger. It may not. Hopefully, members of Congress on the committee ask that question on Thursday and we will get an answer. Number two, Trump will probably attempt the typical smear campaign that he does when people testify, when people become disgruntled, or whatever term you want to use. He will say, this was not a particularly good employee. He wasn't particularly bright, and on and on and on. And of course, there are two different issues with that. Number one, Trump says it about everyone who has something negative to say about him. That's number one. And of course, number two, Trump ran on, I know how to hire people and the best people. I can tell who's good and who's not good. I can tell who's smart, not smart, good at a job. And individual after individual who is left, we're talking about Rex Tillerson, we're talking about John Bolton. It's a very long list. Cassidy Hutchinson, more recently, in terms of the witnesses in this committee. Trump attacks them and says they weren't smart and all these different things. Well, you hired them. You hired them and you said your hiring was really the best thing that you did. Now, what happens after the committee is done? We don't know the answer to that. There is, the question continues to be, will Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice charge anyone based on what was learned in this committee? We don't know the answer to that. I think that there are two different ways to look at this. One, if you came to me and you said, sir, Obama, right, do you have any reason to believe Merrick Garland plans to charge people based on this committee? I would say no, I have no reason to believe that. The only thing we've heard is the DOJ is paying attention to the committee hearings. Okay. But we have seen no evidence that Garland is willing to do what would be admittedly very difficult in charging some of these former officials. On the other hand, it is true that it takes a while to put cases together. And it's completely plausible, realistic, that if indeed the DOJ learned about possible crimes from watching the committee hearings, and they started investigations only when the committee hearings took place, It's completely plausible that it would take a couple to a few months to put together a case and investigate whether there are charges they're confident they could get a guilty verdict on. So the timing is not really the issue for me. It's reasonable that they hear about something in June and they might charge in October or November or December. That the timeline isn't really the concern. The concern is it seems as though there's kind of a meekness with regard to even really seriously considering charging these people, up to and including Donald Trump. And that's what makes me wonder, is it just they're putting cases together, or is it there's no real interest and willingness to actually do what would be very difficult, but would be the right thing to do if that's where the facts point? Let me know what you think is taking place. You can find me on Twitter at @dpacman. I also want to remind you, next Tuesday, 1 week from today, is the next David Pakman Show viewer town hall. These are, we do the calls on the Friday show, but we don't have that much time for it. Usually it's about 20, 25 minutes. Next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, U.S., of course. For our friends in Europe, it'll be, like midnight. We're going to be opening up the phone lines, and we will be taking an hour to an hour and a half of calls. Everybody is welcome to call in. If you want to watch, here's the sort of key thing. It will only air on the Pakman Live YouTube channel. It won't be on the main YouTube channel, the one with the roughly 1.5 million subscribers. It won't be on Twitch. It won't be on Facebook. We will only be streaming the town hall on the Pakman Live YouTube channel. Everybody can watch. Everybody can participate. And yes, if you are a website member, you will get priority access to participate in the town hall. All right, more about that as we get closer. One of our sponsors today is Blue Chew, a unique online service delivering the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. And they're giving my audience an entire month's supply for free. So if you think you could benefit from an extra boost of confidence when it's time, all you have to do is take a short quiz on their website. A licensed doctor approves your prescription. The medication comes straight to your home within days in a discreet package. No driving around to the doctor's office or the pharmacy. No waiting around. No awkward conversations with your doctor. All of Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. The entire process is just a few clicks. Go to bluechew.com. The link is underneath this video. They'll give you an entire month's supply for free when you use the promo code PAKMAN. All you have to do is pay $5 shipping.